Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Book Instruments. I am Michaela, and today I'm going to be doing my guide to fantasy novels, since that is legit all I ever read. I mean, I do read, my voice is weird. I do read some other genres, but if I had to pick like one that's my favorite that I read all the time, it is fantasy. So here we go. I'm going to start off with obviously one of my favorites because my channel is named after it, and that is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is the Mortal Instruments series, and it's basically, I'm sure everyone's heard about it, but I'm gonna say it just in case you haven't. It's about these half-human, half-angel people that hunt demons and, you know, save everyone else who doesn't know about demons. And it is so good, and you need to go read it like immediately. I love Cassandra Clare so much. She is like a genius when it comes to writing, and oh my god, she's the best. Okay, just check that over there. Next is obviously one of my other favorites. These other, like, Mortal Instruments, and this one I actually even have tattoos for. That's how much I love them. And this one is A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is actually, I would say, is my like current like favorite, well, the second book in the series, but I still love City of Bones, like forever has a place in my heart. And this one is about this girl who is like in the woods and hunting and like scavenging for her family because they're dirt poor, and she shoots this wolf which turns out to be a fairy, and it's like Beauty and the Beast, so like she has to pay the price, so she has to go live with this guy, and it's so good, and you need to read it, and I love it so much. It's definitely my favorite Beauty and the Beast retelling, obviously, because it's my favorite. Next is, oh wait, that was by Sarah J Maas, didn't say that. Next is also by Sarah J Maas. This is Throne of Glass, another amazing series. She just finished this one off. It was 7 books, I think. The last one was a whopper at 990 pages. I think it's the biggest book I've ever read, but I loved it. And this one, if you've never heard of it, is basically about this girl who was in prison because she's an assassin, but then the prince gets her out of prison so she can be part of this competition, like to be the king's champion, and be freed like after a certain amount of years of being his champion from being in prison. And I basically describe it to people as Hunger Games with assassins. I mean, who wouldn't want to read that? It's so freaking good. I love it so much. Next is one that I read this year, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And this book is unlike anything I've ever read. It was such a fun read. I mean, it's like almost 500 pages, and I read it in a day. Like, it's one of those books where you just can't put it down until you get to the end. And it's basically about this girl who has powers, but the powers in their land have been suppressed for years, and she wants to bring the powers back before, like, there's a time coming up. If they don't get there by a certain date, they're never gonna come back. And it's just so good, and like the powers in it are like unlike any powers in most books. Like, let me get to it. Like, there's they control life and death, or you can control mind, spirit, and dreams, or control water, control fire, control air, control iron and earth, control darkness and light, control health and disease, control time, and control animals. Like, she did put in some of the regulars like water, air, fire, earth, but she also included these other elements of ones that like I've never heard of before, and it was such an interesting take on it. My voice doesn't like me right now. Next is the Lux series, and the first one is called Obsidian. Yes, I grabbed the right book. This one has the first and the second. It's like a collector's edition one, and it's like sparkly on the front. I don't know if you can see, but it is. And this one is by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I love Jennifer L. Armentrout. I also like her other series, White Hot Kiss. But this one is about this girl who's a book blogger, so how can you not relate to that? And she like she has these next door neighbors that are very odd, and it turns out that they're aliens. I didn't give that much away because it literally says there's an alien next door on the back. And they have these like really cool powers and eerie green eyes, and he's hot. I love that description. But yeah, it's like super good. I don't want to like give too much away. Like I already gave away that they're aliens, but it says that in the description. But it's just really fun and fast paced, and it's such an interesting like idea. Like there's not many books about aliens out there if you think about it, and I really enjoyed it, and you should go read it. Next is, I couldn't find the first book, so I grabbed the second. This is Daughter of the Siren Queen, but the first one is Daughter of the Pirate King, and it literally reminds me of Throne of Glass so much. Like just, you've got like this badass female who's just like always ready to take on what's coming. She like is the captain of her own ship, and she's got like some powers, and there's the love interest, but I like that they didn't, the love interest part was like more in like the background of the whole thing and not like in the front like Sarah J Maas. Like she always has love interests, but they aren't always like the main thing. I feel like a lot of books, they're just like always focus on the love interest and not as much on like the whole plot. And I really enjoy when they put it more on a back burner, but it's like still present and still there. And that's why I really like this one. Next is one of my favorite reads from last year, and that is Rain the Earth by A.C. Gaughan. And oh my god, I love this book so freaking much. It is so good. A.C. Gaughan, if I'm saying her name right, I'm sorry if I'm not, is a genius, and I love this book so much. It reminds me so much of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was like my favorite show growing up. I think I've seen that show like 20 times over. And so it has like elementals in it, but like they're trying to like go make elementals go extinct, and like figure out like how to get rid of them. And this girl gets married off to like this king who's trying to get rid of powers, but then like right after they get married, she starts developing powers. And it's so good, and you seriously need to read this one. Like I feel like this book is so like undercredited when like it should get so much more hype. It's amazing. It is amazing. And the second book is coming out January 22nd, and it is called, oh gosh, I've been reading it. What was it? Imprison the Sky. It is called Imprison the Sky, and I am 100 pages from finishing it, and then I'm going to make a review on it, and I hope you all love this series and this author as much as I do. Please go read it. Next is another one I'm sure you've heard about a lot, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Wicked King just came out. I read it back in July. It is like such a good sequel to this. This series is so amazing. I love it. I love that Holly Black took like fairies. Like, I mean, a lot of authors are doing fairies right now. She took like a common thing and she made it into something like new and rejuvenated and amazing. She took this idea that you could put a human in the mix. It kind of reminded me how like in A Court of Thorns and Roses that Feyre, you know, goes to like the fairy world. So like it reminded me of that in a way, but like so much different and like such an interesting twist. So it's basically about this girl who gets like kidnapped as a child, and her sister was half fairy, or was she full? Yeah, she was half, because her mom was human. She was half fairy, and the dad of the sister comes and like kills their parents and adopts them. Even it's her and her twin, and then her older sister who's half fairy, and like they have to live in the fairy world where like humans are like so discredited, and people are just so rude to them. And it is like, Jude's just so amazing. Badass female right here. Go read it. Last but not least, also these are just like some of my like top fantasy novels. Like they're not all like, just because it wasn't on this list doesn't mean I don't love it just as much. It's just I grabbed the ones I saw. last is The Black Witch by Laurie Forest. This is another amazing one. It's more, I would describe it more as like a high fantasy novel. Like typically I don't ever read high fantasy novels. I don't know why, I've just always not done it. And I was, when I picked this up, I was like, I'm probably not gonna like it. Like, it's different from everything else. But oh my gosh, was I wrong? Honestly, it reminded me a lot of like a darker Harry Potter. It is so good. It's basically about this girl who is descended from the Black Witch, which is like the most powerful witch. And in the beginning, they like hint at that she's the Black Witch, but then she gets wand tested is what they like do, and she like barely has like any magic at all, if none. And so then she has to go to the school, but she's like rated really low in the school, and it's just really interesting, and I really like it, and it's so good, and you freaking need to read it. I feel like I always end, and you need to read it with everything, because these books are just so amazing. That was the last book in my pile. I hope you enjoyed me ranting about these awesome fantasy novels, and I hope that you check some out because I suggested them. If not, you listen to me ramble, that's cool. I hope you liked this. Let me know what you want me to film next, and comment down below if you've read these or if you want to read them. I'm always down to talk, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Just a fantasy, taking over like a disease. Pull me out of this, I can't breathe, it's burning through my chest.